Came out in the second half and went back and forth. Again, our offense really struggled to move the ball. Defensively, we made some good plays, kept them out of the end zone, and then they scored with about 2 minutes to go in the game, and we just couldn't mount a comeback from there. So final score 9-8.
That's kind of a heartbreaker. I mean, especially you get all the way down to the end and chance to win it. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, we played so well at times, but just were not nearly consistent enough and effective enough on offense up front. Adams was very physical and fast on defense and gave us some fits. And with our, we had everyone in our backfield was the first time playing varsity football. We had 2 new linemen up there. So, granted, we felt pretty good with our game plan going in with our athleticism, but it's about that football knowledge and mentality, understanding how you got to find a way to move the football on offense. And last night we weren't able to do that. But I do like the people we have, and I know we're going to improve, and looking forward to getting back and coaching those kids up this week.
Talk about the things that you liked that you saw last night.
Yeah, I thought that our inside linebacker, Kenny Gibson, number 8, played really well for us. He was aggressive on D, tackled well. We had other strong performances. Chris Wirtz, defensive end, created a big turnover for us early on. We really did a nice job with our pass rush. Really limited a very effective passing game from Adams, but we just weren't able to to get off the field on D. I mean, it wasn't that they were scoring, but they controlled the ball. They ran 20 more plays than we did, and eventually they were able to find the end zone with that many opportunities.
I guess the other part of that, the other side of the coin is, I mean, what things do you see that are going to be on the list this week to work on?
No doubt it's our offensive line. We got to be able to understand our assignments, fire off the ball, defensive line as well. Anything in high school, right? You need to get the men up front to be effective and execute their assignments. There were some real bright spots on the defensive line last night that I think are going to really bode well for us moving forward. But the focus this week certainly is going to be our offense and being able to find ways to effectively move the ball, control the ball, get first downs, and keep our defense off the field. Like I said, Adams ran 20 more plays than we did, and that's going to make it really tough on us to be successful. But I love the way our kids battled early on. Adams is a very good football team. They're physical, they're fast, they're well coached, they executed well on both sides of the ball. Give them a lot of credit. And our kids stood toe-to-toe and battled. Rusty, we've been at this for 2 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah.
And you take any football team that's practiced for 2 weeks and play as well as our kids did, as physical as we did, I think you'd be happy with that. And granted, the scoreboard didn't turn out the way we wanted to. We didn't move the ball effectively. But there's a lot of good pieces that we have in place that we're pretty excited about.
You already talked about your linebacker. You felt he had a nice night. Anybody else that really stands out in your mind that had a good night last night?
There were bits and pieces. Guys made some good plays. Guys made some mistakes. But it's first game. Elliot Doral played well at corner. He had several tackles at the line of scrimmage, had a couple pass breakups, recovered a fumble. Charlie Lawson had some plays as well, had a couple big sacks early in the third quarter that stymied some of their drives. So it was a combination of a number of kids making plays when they needed to, but we just weren't consistent enough across the board up front on the offensive line to move the football. So, again, a lot of good pieces there, but it's just a matter of a little more experience, a little more time, a little more coaching, and we're going to continue to get better.
Well, Coach, good luck to you next week. We'll be getting in touch with you for our Thursday night show here, and we'll do this again next week.
High school football is a great thing, Rusty. It really exposes young men to situations that they're not comfortable with, and they have to embrace that and learn and grow. And that's what we're looking forward to. Our kids this week is being coached up to become a more effective football team. They can work for each other to be successful. So thanks for the opportunity, and I love coaching this game and love these kids.
That's Andy Dorrell, head coach at Culver Academy. Stay there. We will be right back.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sampan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
And we're joined on the phone by Matt Packer, head coach at LaVille. Game we saw last night right here on, you heard on Max 98.3. Coach, let's talk about your guys a little bit. I talked, Scott Shearer did the game with me last night, and we kept talking about how you probably had to be pretty happy with what you saw for a first night.
With installing triple and, everything being new and finally being able to really go live with it. You're pretty happy. We left some points out there. Definitely could have done some things better in the passing game. Missed some big plays in the running game just by stepping to the wrong spot up front, or our halfback not getting a little deep enough on a handoff. We ran our counter play, but overall, Griffin did a great job. He settled down a little bit after those first couple drives and really started to take command of what we're trying to do with the running game.
I was going to say, I thought he had a really good game, and not necessarily because he was flashy and made a bunch of huge plays, but he did exactly what he should do. His reads were solid, and he managed the game. Coach, you still there?
I'm still here. I'm good now. Bad spot here on 31.
I know what you mean. What I said was I thought you had to be pretty happy with Griffin because of the fact, quarterback, he wasn't making 50-yard throws and huge plays, but he did exactly what you needed him to do. His reads were solid, and he managed the game.
Yeah, he did exactly what we wanted, especially in the run game. There were some times in the pass game where he wanted to take a little bit more than what we actually needed. But that's fine. That's something we can work with and work out, and just understanding what we're trying to get done and what we're trying to accomplish. So very happy with how he, and I hate saying manage the game. He's the quarterback. Everybody, all the eyes are on him. But he did a fantastic job in reading in the option game. And excited to get back to work today.
Well, and let's not belittle that too. Reading that option game isn't easy, and there aren't a lot of people who do it that well.
No, and then game one of system and him running it. I've seen some bad games from quarterbacks, especially in week one of year one of running this offense, but I'm very proud of his effort. He just had a little bit of moxie to him that he settled down. We started talking about what he was seeing on the field, and he was right. And some of those plays he he wanted and called. So, you gotta give him some rope, and you gotta let him succeed, and you gotta let him fail, and you gotta let him learn.
I got to feel like he's only going to get better to watching film of other teams. Now, there are going to be teams that are going to scheme to make his reads harder to see, but, as he sees more of it, he's going to learn it more.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of it, the experience of it. When things are actually live, you can only do so much in the summertime and, in a practice. But, yeah, he's only going to get better. He wants to get better. All of our kids want to get better. They were excited about last night. I was very pleased with our physicality last night on both sides of the ball. And someone that really, stands out is Larry Wood. I mean, Larry went from corner on defense to playing nose, and he's just a football player.
He was our player of the game, too. I thought he did a good job. Once again, those zone reads, those aren't easy to do. He's got to find out where the blocking's going, and he did a great job of that.
Yeah, he definitely gave us a boost there at nose, his speed and quickness. I mean, he's a wrestler, dual sport, multi-sport athlete. So definitely what we preach and what we're about, and I was just happy to see that come to fruition there for him last night. It wasn't planned for him to play nose, but he's a wrestler. He's played nose in the past, and we weren't doing a horrible job, but he's got a little bit of a quickness to him that it's tough to contain him on the offensive line.
I was going to say, you want that kind of quickness and speed out of the nose. It makes it a lot easier night for him and a horrible night for who's got to block him.
Yeah, it makes it tough on the center, and especially if you're in shotgun. And he stepped up and filled a role that we needed. And you see stuff like that. You see a team player like that, and that's just exciting to see when you're starting out.
Talk about your running game, too. I mean, you've got a couple of guys on those wing spots who can really get out there and run it. Miller has speed. Amor is just a good football player. You got three guys that can do a lot for you.
Yeah, we kind of thought that coming in, but you really don't know until it finally happens. And Dylan did a great job on toss every time we gave him the ball. But most importantly, him and Connor both helped each other by their perimeter blocking. Connor had some great blocks on the edge to get Dylan down the field, and Noah Menace and Johnny Yoder also did a great job on the perimeter. And I feel bad we couldn't give him a ball or two, but it's going to happen for him, especially in that pass game. It'll happen for him. It's just week one, and we ended up being able to run the ball as effectively as we did. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say we had, 4 total pass attempts by both teams, just total in the game by both teams last night. It's kind of what we expected.
Well, we did have a pass completion from our punter.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
We did have that going for us.
Well, you got to work on the punt fake. That's always good.
Yeah, that's kind of that's in our scheme on punt. So he read it right. Could have been a little better ball, but Connor made a great adjustment and a great play and extended that drive. And honestly, I think that kind of turned the game. I mean, it was 7-0 at the time. It wasn't looking good for us, but we were going to have to punt. And then we were able to hit Connor on that go route and swing the field. And we didn't end up with a touchdown on that series, but we ended up with points and ended up with a 2-score lead. So I learned a long time ago, if you got points, if you're able to get points in the first half, you better take them.
That was another thing that was in your favor last night. You seem to have field position almost every time you had the ball, and that helps too, especially first night.
Yeah, Caleb Skiles is a definite weapon. I mean, I think he had 3 touchbacks last night on kickoff, and for a high school football team to start at the 20-yard line, that's huge. That's a huge weapon for us, and he did a great job when he did actually punt the ball. We did a great job in coverage. Just very happy with that part of the game last night.
Talk about your defense a little bit. I mean, you kept them out of the end zone until right there at the very end. You got to be happy with what you're seeing there.
Yeah, you always hate to give up a late score like that, especially when the varsity guys have worked so hard. I'm not taking anything away from the JV guys. It was a great opportunity for them to learn and get experience and develop our kids. And, you have to do that, if you want to develop a program. So they were able to get in there and get some quality reps. And, we didn't get the shutout, but at the same time, we got quality reps for our young guys, and that'll be huge going forward.
I'm sure there was some things that you saw that you didn't like. I mean, what's going to be on the checklist this week on coaching points?
Step in the right way, taking care of play side A gap. We had a toss there early on to Connor that we got hit in the backfield and put the ball on the ground. Luckily we got it back, but stuff like that, and it's the details of it. It's not necessarily a small thing. It's the details of it, and details are big things in the big picture.
I think we talked about that a little bit before. I mean, everybody looks at this kind of an offense and says how simple it must be, but there is a real precision to your blocking schemes. People got to be in the right spots. I mean, you just mentioned step the right way. There's a lot of tiny little things that go into that if you're going to do it right.
Yeah, people think it's simple, but honestly, the way we play football is actually the most modern type of football, and it's not modern based off of what we're doing play-wise. It's more modern on how we have our halfbacks. If you look at the old school triple option or wishbone, those halfbacks were in the backfield.
Yep.
And nowadays we have them. They're basically wings or halfbacks, whatever you want to call them. But it's more of a spread look than what people might think. But we're just, under center as well.
Talk about what you get out of that by putting those running backs out there. Why do you put them out there?
Well, I think it goes back to why we go under center. You go under center to put pressure on the defense. Reads happen faster. Things happen faster up front. And you're trying to make high school football players to be disciplined for 4 quarters. And that's, that's tough for us to do. It's tough for anybody to do. But that's the main reason why, just to, have things happen faster. With our toss, we want to get the defense outflanked and want to get the ball to a certain spot when we toss it. Because if you do that correctly, you have plenty of guys out in front. You can get the defense outflanked, and you can have a fun night.
Did somebody really come of age, you think, last night that maybe, you were hoping they were going to have that kind of a game to give them that confidence level? I mean, does anybody stand out in you in particular?
Trevor Whiteman, a freshman inside linebacker. Coach Hansen had talked about them possibly running their middle screen that they had ran a couple times last year against us. And sure enough, he read it perfectly, and if he doesn't trip, he might score on that.
Well, for a freshman, that's a really good night.
Yeah, that was a great night for him. He also got some quality reps in there. He got some learning done. So last night was a good experience for him.
Talk about next week a little bit. I'm sure you haven't really had a chance to look at them at all yet. Maybe just a little bit. North Judson coming up. That's become a real rivalry game for you guys, too.
Yeah, you look at the score from last night. They definitely did a number to Knox. I haven't watched the film yet, but they're definitely going to be physical. They definitely run their version of triple option. So hopefully we can have a good week of practice and hopefully we can figure something out because just looking at the score alone seems pretty daunting.
Yeah, it does. Looks like they meant to have another one of those classes coming through.
It sure does. It looks like they have some speed, some physicality. So we'll see how that plays out for us.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time this morning, and we'll be in touch this week, and good luck to you.
I appreciate it, Rusty. Take care.
You too. That's Matt Packer, the head coach at LaVille, and we'll take a break. We'll be right back. And Andy Barker, head.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana, serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
And we're back, and in this segment, we're joined by Culver head coach Austin Faust. Coach, welcome in.
Yeah, morning, Rusty.
Let's talk about Central Noble a little bit. I mean, it's a big start for you guys. They have a pretty good program over the years, and that's a tough team to play opening night.
Yeah, Central Noble's a little bit unknown. We've heard they have athletes and things, and they had a brand new coach. So we didn't have a lot on film, and they kind of came out and did some things differently than they did in the scrimmage, and we told our kids we got to come out from the get-go and have good energy and be physical, and they were the ones that did that. We came out and got the opening kickoff, and we fumbled on the first play. And I think they scored in 3 plays, just boom, boom, boom. And a lot of it was just not having, we were kind of in survival mode. We didn't really line up exactly how we should have lined up to some of those formations we gave them. And, we gave them short fields a couple other times down there. And, it was 21-0 real early in the first quarter. And then we kind of, we settled down. I think we kind of, dominated the second quarter. We just only didn't put the ball in the end zone enough. We got down there a couple different times, but it was only come away with 7 points, and didn't play too bad either in the third. But just some of our youth and experience, and then just kind of lack of numbers right now, kind of really kind of hurt us.
And once again, you still have a young team. You got some guys who have some varsity experience, but, they're still learning what it's like to play on Friday night. Yeah,
we, got a really young team, and most of these guys, it was their first taste of Friday night football. I kind of talked all off season and summer. One of the things that, we got to get and get our kids understanding, and it's going to take a little bit, and it's a process, but just how much faster you got to play on Fridays. It's quite a bit faster than what it is on Saturdays and Mondays. And, I think we saw some of that, but like I said, we settled down and we did some good things that, really the score, it was not really, 35-7. It was more a 21-7 game most of the game. And then, it kind of broke late with a couple scores, but, we had some guys go out and, then when you have low numbers, you got people that are on different positions and things like that. And, so, it was a lot closer game. But, there's some good things that we're going to be able to take on film. And, just the thing that you got with the young team is just kind of, okay, how are we going to go from here? The only way, the only really correct answer is come back to work on Monday and get better. So
you're replacing a couple of key parts too. I mean, the McCune brothers gave you a lot of great downs for a lot of years, and those are big shoes to fill, especially with guys in their first varsity game.
Yeah. Obviously, Jonas and Caleb. If you look back at their career stats, they did a lot of good things for us, and things that that don't show up on the stat sheet as well. And you're starting a quarterback in Zach Zahner as a sophomore, who I thought did a really nice job for us. They really were kind of trying to say, hey, this is the only thing we're going to let you do. And so the passing game, wasn't going to be something that they were going to probably give us too much, because they were playing man with everything and running guys upfield and trying to keep Zach inside the pocket because he is with his feet. But he was a couple times able to get outside and kind of be elusive and, make the smart plays. And then, that's the thing for a sophomore that I've noticed with Zach is, he hasn't turned the ball over for us. He's done a really nice job of just taking what the defense has given us, making plays. If it's not there, throwing the ball away, getting down, not trying to take a hit. And, I think we had some guys that, showed some nice things as sophomores. But, it really comes down to, I've had a coach tell me, a while back early in my career, you win with seniors.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, you look at Central Noble, their best players, we're all out there, and they were seniors, and things like that. And just, you could tell they look, older. You could tell, right, that they, they knew kind of what was going on. And, you got to credit them for coming out and, and getting on us early. And, but I liked how we responded and kind of settled down. And we just got to keep getting better now, and not have a late start right when the first kickoff happens.
Yeah, and opening night always, especially the younger guys, tends to the eyes get big, and and when the game moves that fast, it can catch you early.
Yeah, it can. The opening kickoff, and they come down. They we don't get maybe a guy blocked that we wanted to get blocked. So they get a nice hit on us. So there's kind of a little bit of celebrating juice on there, and then we fumble on the first play, and that really gets it. And we were kind of in a little bit of a shock, and they come out and they're no huddle team. They throw the ball. I hate to see how many times it was. It probably was 70 times, if not more than 70 times. Very rarely did they run the ball. So, they come out no huddle and gave us a look that we've seen in practice, but, it was fast. We were kind of reeling a little bit from the fumble and, got a big play to get him, probably inside the 10 or so. And just things like that, just that response that, we need to make sure we have, just kind of that next play mentality kind of things. And, again, some of it's just youth and just learning and understanding. And, like we told our guys, it's a long football season. There's a process, and we just got to keep getting better, every single day.
Talk about some of the things that you liked last night. I'm sure there were some things that are going to be on the board as we did that well.
Yeah, I thought there was periods of the game, offensively where, when we did our jobs, we created holes for our running back. I thought, I thought a kid as a sophomore and Braylon Bush, I thought he ran hard for us. Really nice couple runs and things. He's a kid that not an overly big kid, but strong and got a nice little kind of explosive leg drive for us. And he kind of settled us down a little bit in the first quarter when we needed to get some offense going, when we kind of gave him the ball. And, he ran hard. I thought Braylon Jackson was able to kind of use his speed and make some big runs for us. He ended up having our touchdown run, and I thought defensively, obviously Drake Zorich is the key to kind of our defense and really our whole team with his leadership. And I thought he did a good job of trying to make sure everybody was in the right position, especially when we had guys in there that that maybe hadn't been in that spot a lot, but because of cramps or things like that, had to be kind of moved around and making sure we were lined up and getting us settled down. And so there's some nice things. Matthew Bloomquist did some good things for us. As a sophomore two-way starter. It's one of those things where hopefully guys understand and wake up this morning and kind of realize it probably felt worse than what it really was. And sometimes when I talk and do these interviews, you got to stand outside just to make sure the sun comes up, and we're standing out here, the sun's shining. So I think everything's going to be okay, and we'll get back to work on Monday and keep getting better.
You got another day to get better. That's what it boils down to.
Yep, exactly. So we're thankful for it.
Talk a little bit about the things that are going to be the coaching points this week. I mean, what are you going to need to work on the most?
Yeah, I think sometimes what do they always say? Paralysis by analysis and things. And we kind of talked as a coaching staff, and I think it's very, very easy when you have something like this, and obviously you're frustrated and how some things went on, but you want to maybe sometimes kind of overcomplicate it or things like that. I mean, I think for us it's all right, let's get to the basics and let's keep things really, really simple. All right, so here we're gonna run this play this week. Okay, we're gonna run this play. Here's where our steps have to be. Here's our first step, here's our second step, and just being able to do that when we're tired. Being able to do that maybe when we're, a little bit maybe frustrated, just having those abilities to make sure we're hitting those plays, doing things the right way. Same thing, defensively. Okay, this is the formation they're giving us. Who do we want on this side? Who do we want here? Who are we calling strength? Just those things that I think we just had some small kind of mental lapses of just, again, you're sucking wind, you're tired. When you're tired, you're not always maybe thinking the right way, and how did coach want us to line up to this? How's that? So I think just reinforcing those things, building off those things, and just again getting just a little bit better every day. I think if we take care of some of that stuff, this ball game, it might be a different result.
Let's talk about this week a little bit. You got West Central coming in, and I believe they're a triple team, if I remember right. I'm sure you haven't had a chance to look at them a lot, but they're on your schedule every year. They're probably going to do things a lot the way they have for the last few years. I mean, tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, they're a triple option team. Coach Hall's done a good job over there of getting it turned around and consistently winning about 7 to 10 games almost every year. They've done a really good job, and they're athletic. They're not overly big. Watched a little bit, but they're athletic and they're fast. They'll get guys open in space. I got a quarterback that that started as a quarterback last year, and he's their best runner. He's their best player. He's their best runner. So they're going to kind of keep it in his hands, and so you got to give him plenty of attention. But they have some wings that got some speed, and if you give them just kind of a little bit of daylight, they can take it to the house. Watched a little bit too, and I think they're throwing the ball this year a little bit more than what they have in the past. So, that even makes it that much tougher to defend the option, because it's really easy to get guys to kind of look in the backfield and think they're coming up to defend the run, and next thing you know, you got a tight end and a wing that are sprinting right by you. It's going to be a challenge for our kids in a different way. We defended the pass all night long last night. And now, we're going to get a dose of option and run, and, they're going to try to make sure that, who they're going to go after and try to make us, no matter what we do, wrong. And our kids are going to have to be able to do the same thing every single play.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time this morning, and we'll get with you this week. We'll touch base, and good luck to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Rusty. We appreciate it.
That is Austin Faust, the head coach at Culver, and we'll be right back.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has proudly served the Plymouth community since 1879. Today, our dedicated team continues a tradition of compassionate care supporting families throughout Marshall County. Whether you're planning ahead or honoring a loved one, Johnson Danielson offers a range of personalized options, from burial and cremation packages to flexible pre-planning solutions and helpful planning checklists. This is Jamie Beckwith. Our experienced and caring staff are available for you 24 hours a day, ready to guide you every step of the way. Simply call 574-936-2829. To learn more about our services, visit johnson-danielson.com. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home, service beyond the expectation.
Andy Barker, head coach at Triton, joins us in this segment of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. And that was a tough one last night, but there's got to be a lot of things that you saw that, you're happy with on a first night.
Yeah, I mean, our youth showed in full display last night. We were struggling with personnel changes, special teams coming on and off the field, and there were a lot of things that we're going to have to clean up. But, on the positive side, that the boys, there was no quit in them, and that's a really big deal because when things aren't going your way and you're taking one step forward, two steps back at times, teenagers especially, they can get down on themselves. And I think it kind of goes to show the culture that we're building that they didn't do that, even with some of the injuries that we suffered. So, yeah, positive there for sure.
Okay, I was going to ask you about your running back, Peyton. He had the ankle early. Is he not available now?
It's his knee, and we're not sure. Tyler's going to go get evaluated today, and we'll have to go from there. But I don't know. It's tough because he's a great kid, and football is his thing. And when you see that, you can see it in his eyes when you walk over there, and it's going to be a long road for him, I think, this fall.
He was really trying to gut it out there for a couple of plays too, and I know I was talking to my partner. I said, those are the things where you like the guy's moxie, you like him wanting to be out there, but maybe discretion the better part of valor here on opening night.
Yeah, I didn't even realize what was going on until one of the coaches came to me and said the athletic trainer needed to see me about Tyler. And then, a couple of the other coaches on staff were like, yeah, he tried to play through it. And that shows you who he is because, considering what this might be and the fact that he was still out there for a couple, 3 plays, that's amazing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was gutting it out there for a couple of plays. You could tell he was in pain, but he was going to have to be pulled out. He wasn't going to come out on his own.
Well, and that's the kind of kid you want to go to war with. And so, good on him for that, and hopefully we can get him healed up.
Talk about your other guys, though. I mean, one of our players of the game, your fullback, man, he had a heck of a night. Or your running back, I'm sorry, Gaylord, yeah.
Yeah, Ryder. I mean, look, he's way more comfortable in the running back position. And to Ryder's credit, man, he didn't bat an eye when I came to him this offseason and said, buddy, we need a quarterback. And he said, he met the challenge head on, but you just see that the comfort level just isn't the same as it is when he's sitting at running back. And I get it. I mean, that's the position I played in high school. So, if you asked me my senior year if I was going to play quarterback, I mean, yes, if Tom Condon would have asked me to play quarterback, I would have done it. I would not have been as comfortable as I was at tailback. So you could tell early on that we needed to make a change. And so we went with 2 backs, there in I think the 3rd series.
And we started to move the ball, and Ryder's a big part of that, right? I think he ended up having 175 yards rushing. Total yard wise, we were really close to LaVille. We just couldn't sustain it all the way in to score. And so, man, he had a heck of a night on offense.
Talk about the difference a little bit. I mean, we were discussing that during the game. I mean, moving from quarterback to running back, it seems to me like you'd get more time to read the defense and figure out where you're going to need to run. Am I right, or is it something just a matter of comfort?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think you're right, because the timing of a running play typically is timed up for a handoff, right? And so when you get a direct snap, it's almost, you need to have some extra patience, and until you get comfortable doing it, that's really hard. And then there's the comfort of calling the plays and owning the huddle and knowing where everybody goes, and with that not being his mission set for his entire career, that's hard to pick up, especially in my offense on, just within a few weeks and you're off and running. And so, we tried to keep it pretty basic. And you could probably tell from calling the game last night, we did keep it pretty darn basic, because we had so much learning to do in game. And so, Ryder's definitely more comfortable in running back position. So we'll have to circle back to that this week and see what it looks like, especially with our Tyler Payton situation.
Yeah, he was our player of the game. He seemed to be able to. I mean, there were times they bottled him up, but it's got to feel good to know that that's there. Even when they're playing him well, he's still able to get his yards.
Yeah, his feel for running is special. I mean, the kid can just find holes that, there might be there, but he's just, and you could tell even last year that he had that special ability. And so we'll keep working on it and try to figure out how we can utilize him better.
Well, we saw two running backs like that last night. The Wood kid from LaVille, we commented a couple of times, not only were they physically, looked a lot alike, they ran a lot alike. I mean, a lot of speed, a lot of finding openings, but, they'll run over you too.
Yeah, and that's what I told Ryder at halftime. I'm like, buddy, you're finding amazing ways to run the ball. Let's finish the run. And you could tell in that second half, he was definitely doing that.
Talk a little bit about the other things you saw you liked. I mean, there has to be some things that are going to be on the positive side this week.
Yeah, I need to get into film here this morning and really dig into it. But, off the top of my head, Charlie Worsham, his leadership and his work ethic, it was amazing. And then right next to him, Greg Bradley, man, they battled all night long. And it'll be interesting when we get in here and actually start looking at it. I have a feeling those two guys in the trenches last night worked their butt off. And so when you're starting to rebuild a nucleus of a team, that's the kind of thing that the kids will rally around, is that kind of effort. And they know when they go to battle that they can count on those guys. I think defensively, we'll have to look at it, but again, those guys in the trenches, they played hard. And so, I talk all the time about winning the line battle, because I don't care if you're talking about Pee Wee League football, middle school, high school, college, the NFL. If you aren't winning the offensive line and the defensive line, the odds of you winning the game have to be astronomically high. So day in and day out, we're talking about the line, and with them all being new other than Charlie, it's a lot of work, and they've worked very hard. And I think that's going to be, considering where we started just a few weeks ago to where we're at now. And that's what I told the boys after the game. I'm like, look, we are so young across the board. Just keep in mind that every week you are going to get better. And I actually talked about last year's team. I said, look at how we struggled out of the gate to find who we were. And then by the end, we were really good. And so I think we're going to have a little bit of that this year. It's just the learning curve's a little bit different because of the lack of experience.
I was going to say, Charlie had a nice game. Worsham was really – a lot of your yards were coming off his side. And, I felt like he had a really good game for you.
He did, and he was one in game that was learning. And that's the other piece that I talk to the boys often about. I said, you can have all the rules in the world, but if you can't adapt in game live, that's when you start to struggle. And he would come off to the sideline when he was able to, and we'd have a really good conversation about things that they're doing and how we try to adapt to that. And even out there, he said he was trying to do some workarounds on some things, because you go in with a game plan, thinking you're probably going to block a certain scheme in a certain way, and then, the bad guy gets a choice. So when the other team starts doing things, you got to adapt. And again, that's something else I talked about, Thursday night when I addressed the guys. It's like, look, yeah, we've got our rules, and that's what we need to fall back on. However, you're going to have to learn in game. And he did a really good job of that, on top of leadership stuff. Like that's kind of my thing anyway, but he's really emerging as one of our best leaders.
Yeah, that was something that I saw too during the game was several times he came over and you guys were having a talk about, what are you seeing? This is what you do. I mean, those are teaching moments, and those are irreplaceable during the game.
No doubt. And, if there is a funny story within the fact that we lost, they came over, and him and Blake Ousley both were like, Coach, they knew we were going to throw a screen. I said, boys, it was 2nd down and 20. There aren't a whole lot of play calls for 2nd down and 20. The fact that they were saying, watch the screen, every team in Indiana at that point in time was saying those exact same words. And so we kind of got a giggle out of it. But you're absolutely right. Those are invaluable. And that's the one thing I've had to adapt to here at Triton, because, at Plymouth or Riley or wherever else I've been, the offensive line or the whole offense will come off the field, and we'll have a conversation about what we're seeing as a unit and how we're going to change and adapt. Well, you don't get to do that at Triton, because they're going to turn around and play defense the next series. And so anytime I get, a little bit of time to have conversations, it's always nice to have.
Let's talk about your defense a little bit. I know they got 24 points last night, but I can't feel like you feel bad about what you did. You were able to turn them away a bunch.
Yeah, defense certainly was not our issue last night. The boys played hard. We held them down pretty well for most of the game, to be honest. And I don't know exactly what it was, but I think it was only 10 and going, halfway through the third quarter or whatever. So yeah, they definitely weren't the problem. Now we're with some injuries and whatnot. Today we're going to probably have to start patching that thing together already. We got lucky last year with the injury bug, just did not hit us. And we were able to play pretty well this year. Here we are, game 1, and we're already starting to deal with some injuries. So it's going to be, it'll be interesting to see who's here and how banged up we are and where we're going from here.
Yeah, I got to say, I think that's underplayed, the injury situation. Any team that has a great season, you look at them and they stayed pretty much healthy throughout the entire year. Yeah. That's a big thing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And sometimes that's luck, sometimes that's skill. A lot of it's weight room and what you're doing in the off season. And you're absolutely right. It's going to be a big deal, especially for the 1A, 2A programs, right? Because you're leaning on a kid to be both offense and defense, and then all of the special teams. And when you get one kid that goes down, like Tyler, not to mention Tyler's special athletic ability.
Right.
It's, and that's Coach Eunice came up afterward, our AD, and we were talking about the game, and he said, we were right in it. until Tyler went down. And that was a big hit to us, and both emotionally, really probably more the emotional side than anything, because he is such a special kid, and the boys know how important he is to our team. And so, you get a gut punch like that, and you got to try to rebound from it.
Well, and that's not a guy you just replace on the fly either. I mean, he's not somebody to, okay, next man up and run out there and not lose anything.
Yeah, I mean, so he goes down, and then Ryder took a shot in the thigh, and he went down. And I mean, you were there. At that point in time, I had to call timeout because I'm like, all right, who are we putting where, and how are we going to make this work? Thank God, Ryder came back a couple plays later and was ready to go again. But Tyler's, quite honestly, Tyler is not replaceable on our team. We're just going to have to figure out how we move on, because that's football.
Well, and things will be different because you got a guy with a different skill set out there.
Yeah. We'll evaluate. The good part about our offense is that it's versatile enough that we can adapt to, spread to double tight with 3 in the backfield. It's all mixed in. It's just a matter of what formations do we feel like, and personnel groupings do we feel like gives us the best chance. I think I mentioned it earlier. I didn't think that our 2-back set was going to be with 2 tight ends was going to be our successful formation on the night. And series 3, I went ahead and went with it, and all of a sudden we started moving the ball. And so you have a little bit of that, and on the bright side, Izzy Miller came in at the end. He's the quarterback from LaVille. And he had some success there at the end. And so I think if there is a silver lining, him coming in and being able to kind of ignite the offense a little bit, it's showing at least some hope.
Well, the thing with him, too, he gives you somebody who can throw the ball a little bit. I mean, obviously, he did that last night on your last drive that you scored on. So, he gives you another dynamic.
Yeah, and he was hungry. I think there's probably some school-to-school things going on. I don't think the LaVille boys were very kind to him out there on the field.
Probably
but
not.
I've also been on the other end of that. So it is what it is. I'm glad he was able to drive down there and score. And like I said, I think it kind of showed us maybe a way forward as we move on.
Man, talk a little bit about Bremen. I mean, obviously, Bremen is Bremen. They're going to come in. They're going to be physical. They're going to try to knock you around. I mean, you probably haven't had a chance to look at them very much, but I'm sure you got an idea what you're going to see next week.
Yeah, they're a tough physical team. I think the old Bremen is starting to peek their head back out as it relates to their toughness and how they're going to compete week in and week out. And then that's a credit to the coaching staff up there, right? And so, stopping them is going to be priority one. They've got a sophomore at quarterback, but he's an amazing athlete. So we'll have to do what we can to try to contain him defensively and see how. And for us, really, it's just figuring out who we are, our identity on offense, and how that's going to look moving forward.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time this morning. As always, we'll touch base as the week goes on, and good luck to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rusty.
That is Andy Barker, the head coach at Triton, and we'll take a break.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927.
In a world where there's so many ways to get your news, stay connected by finding out information about your school, local news, along with sports and current events. With a subscription to the Pilot News, they bring you everything you need to know right at your fingertips or on your doorstep. Call Circulation today and ask for their monthly special. Call 574-936-3101 today. Pilot News, Marshall County's news source since 1851.
And joining us in this segment, head coach of the Bremen Lions, Justin Begonia. And man, what a difference a year makes. Last year we were having all those talks about questioning this and questioning that. You put an exclamation point on it to start this year.
Yeah, I think it's just a culmination of the off season and having time with your kids, and then as well as we had talked the other day on the radio about just having a great summer, right? Our summer workouts and the kids being dedicated and then buying into the program and what we're doing.
Well, tell me about it a little bit. I mean, 49 points, that's got to make you happy with your offense.
Yeah. I think every coach would tell you, offense takes a little bit longer to come around, and they were clicking last night. I mean, the kickoff return to start the game obviously helps, right? It takes a lot of pressure off an offensive coordinator. So, I would be lying if I said I wasn't happy to see that, but that's definitely a great way to start a football game. And then so special teams kind of bled over into the offense.
Talk about your offense a little bit. I mean, what tweaks have you made? I'm sure you're still wanting to run the football.
Yeah, I mean that's always going to be a staple, but we've definitely worked on the other parts of the game. I think I told you last year, right? Like. The offense is kind of wide open for us. It's just every year it kind of evolves into the kids that we have. And right. So we can go all, the way I do it is we can go all the way into, 90% passing, 10% run, or like last year, because that's what I had. It was like 99% run and 1% pass. But that's kind of how, our playbook is here. And then I learned a long time ago, just feed it as fast as you can and figure out how much they can take. Just because of years prior, when I held back, I always felt like the kids probably could have done more, and I was just too cautious or didn't believe that they could. So about 10, 15 years ago, I reversed my philosophy and said, feed them as much as they can take and just see how much they can take, and then either gear it back or pull it back after that. And so that's kind of our approach. And so with that being said, we're working a lot more on our passing game and incorporating that into what we do. And we saw some good things out of that. We still have a long way to go. I feel like that's, unless you're just 100% passing and going at it, that takes the longest to get down with your timing, your receivers, and your quarterback.
And you talk about that, giving them all that you can give them. I mean, it lets them take ownership of it too. I mean, everybody has their favorite plays and the things they want to do, and if they can prove to you they can do them, it becomes theirs.
Yeah, I mean, the kids see the playbook. They get the playbook. They look at it. They know that there's a lot there, and so they just don't know which direction we're going or when we're gonna install it. So there is a lot to that. And I'll get kids, they'll ask, right? Like, I saw this play, this formation, can we put this in, or why aren't we doing this? And so it incorporates a little bit of understanding because they're thumbing through it and looking at things themselves. And then also it's right. Like you said, just taking the ownership of knowing it so that we can actually run it.
And it's got to give you a little bit of an advantage too. The other team they're going to game plan for you. They don't really know what to game plan for.
Yeah. Hopefully, right? Like we're a little bit more diverse with formations in place. And so then that is kind of how the game kind of evolves. They're going to see different formations and different plays. And then whatever's more successful, we just kind of like gravitate towards that during the game. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't also game plan and have formations or plays that are specific for that defense and that team as well. So it's kind of a combination of both, I'd say.
Talk about your quarterback a little bit. I mean, Rodriguez is a dynamic athlete. He can do a lot of things.
Yeah, and he erases a lot of mistakes, right? You got to, as a lineman, I imagine like those are the guys you want back there because you can make a mistake and get away with it. And not to say that we're going to miss it, but it sure makes it a lot easier to swallow when Jake's turning it into a first down and, scrambling down the field.
Talk about your line play a little bit. I mean, a lot of what Bremen football has been over the years depends on that front bunch. I mean, how do you feel about where they're at?
Yeah. They've done a good job. We've filled some missing pieces. I talked about it previously. Fredrickson was a big part of that offensive line for, I believe, 4 years, and Louis as well. And so we had those guys played together last year and were basically the right side of our line. And so we were missing key seniors or key players on that offensive line. So I'm really proud of the guys that have filled those holes and are working towards making a more solid unit up front. Go ahead.
How do you feel about that? What things did you see that you were happiest about? I mean, what things are going to be on the board as we need to do this every week? We did it well this week.
I would just say the way we attack. I thought being aggressive, running the ball hard, line firing off, and then also our defense swarming to the football. I feel like now I haven't gotten to do a deep dive into the film yet, but some other things that we've seen, right, where you can pause it and you'll see the whole defense on the left side of the hash when the ball's going left, right? And we don't have the stragglers back on the right or in the middle of the field. You see all 11 guys getting to the football. Those are things that any team can build on. If the hustle and heart is there, the coaches can drop the plays and scheme all they want. But when you have that, right, you have the making for a lot of potential and possibly a really good team.
Let's talk about your defense a little bit. I mean, that's been a characteristic of a Bremen defense is getting everybody the ball. I mean, how do you feel about the way they played last night?
Oh, I'm really happy with the way they played. Led by Derek Miller and Logan Mosier, our two seniors on the linebacker core. They kind of really, I think, set the tempo for the rest of the team. Great leaders, lead by example, and they're really a load for any team when we step on the field. They've got to account for those two guys.
Miller really is one of those guys. I mean, I get the feeling you like him as a player. Going back to last year, he really came on at the end of the year for you, and it sounds like he's going to have a good year this year.
Yeah, he plays fullback and linebacker. he's kind of a what every coach, what I picture anyways, every coach wants in a high school football player. Is a leader by example. You really don't hear from him unless he's really excited or really mad. So he just basically goes out there and does his job and leads by example, right? The other kids got no other option but to raise their game because his game is so high. And he's always that way in practice, and in the game. Same thing with leading. I don't think he missed a workout. He's at everything. And I really believe it. He truly wants to get better. It's not, if I wasn't there coaching him, Derek Miller would still be in the weight room, right? He'd still be doing things, to make himself better, whether it was football, wrestling, track, whatever else he wants to do. So, I can't say enough good things about him. I'm so proud of him and what he's put together to have a very successful senior year.
Let's put that out too. I mean, obviously, coaches are supposed to get on players, and that's a lot of times it's Charlie Brown's teacher when you get on him. It's like, well, there goes coach again. But when a guy like Miller shows up and he's doing those things, and that senior is leading, even if it's just by example, even if it's not vocally, that says something to everybody else on that team that makes your job to motivate them a lot easier because they're doing it for you.
Yeah, and he doesn't care who you are, right? Like you could be Mosier right next, right? He does not care. You're either, and that's what's the beauty of it, is that you're either doing it or you're not, right? It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. He'll let you hear it. And I think all kids need to take a little bit of that, right? Like, when he says something, he doesn't say, he's not talking just to talk. And if you're doing your job and everything, you don't, like I said, you don't hear from him. Same thing with himself. He, right, for every, finger he may point at you, he's got the other four fingers pointing back at himself, and he's hardest on himself, right? Like I said, he works hard, and he usually doesn't say anything, but when he does, there's either something great happened or we got a problem. So I think, few words are the loudest. And with him, that's definitely true. And the other thing I'd say about him is, right, like we've got, we have one captain this year. It's him. And I think that's all that needs to be said really about nobody else was close. And so it says a lot about the young man.
Getting those guys that will hold themselves accountable. And, that's how they get that legitimacy with the other guys. Like, well, if he's doing it, I better do it.
Yeah, and this is what I tell freshmen every year, right? You come in, nobody expects you to perform or to, now every once in a while you have that freak that does, but nobody expects you to come into the weight room, right, and do the same as the seniors. Nobody expects you to come out and perform the same. Everybody was at your level at one time, but the best thing you can do is show up and be there, because it goes right back to what you said, that just being there, the other players, the older players, right, start counting on you. You start right away building that bond, and they know that you become accepted, all the good things that happen on the team, and it's because you were there. And then the more you're there, the more that they know they can count on you, and that's the best thing you can do. That's what I tell freshmen. I was like, just show up. Yep. You're going to get better just by being here, right? Even if your effort or your body isn't, built up yet, you're only a 14-year-old or whatever. I was like, just be here. And after stacking those days, you're going to be like that, right? You're going to be a Miller. You're going to be a Mosier. And show them this is the end of 4 years. You're the beginning. We were all there at one time, right? I even share my own stories as coming in. It's intimidating. You walk in and you got a guy that's 4 or 5 years older than you. Yeah, he's going to be bigger. So we talk a lot about that, and I know you were talking about Miller, but it holds true to all the kids. And that's my first meeting with the freshmen. I tell them, I was like, you want these guys, you want to be accepted, you want these guys to be able to rely on you. I go, just be here, and you'll have credibility right off the bat just because they know you, they've seen your face, they know your work ethic. And I go, that carries a long way with seniors.
Well, that's how you build a program. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yes, sir.
You build it all the way up from freshman up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the future, whether you like it or not, right? I mean, that's what you got in 4 years, 3 years. So that's a great point.
Talk about some of the things maybe that are going to be on the coaching points this week in practice. What are some of the things that maybe you didn't like as much last night?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't play a perfect game by any means, and it is week 1, so there's a lot to build on. We had miscues on the line, and that was to be expected. Like I said, we replaced more than half the line when you count the center. So we had some miscues, some missed blocks. Some of it's just technique stuff, right? It being the first game, like leverage, staying low. Some guys got pushed around out there. They have players that want to win too, and so some of those type of things. I think a lot of it this week's going to be right position coaches and improving the individual at their position. And then, it culminates into, team defense or team offense. But definitely it should be, it's week 1. And so, if I'm going to, I always say that our team's going to get better. Well, it starts with the individual and the position and the technique. And so we're definitely going to hit home on those parts and those aspects of the game and with those positions.
I'm sure you haven't taken a look at any film or anything for Triton coming up this week, but I'm sure you got an idea in mind. You've seen them play over the years. What are you looking at with Triton next week?
Yeah, I mean, they typically, again, like you said, I haven't dived into it too deep, but typically they have a running quarterback. Last year, right, they hurt us with that. They're usually pretty strong. The special teams has some good skilled kids. I mean, that's usually typical Triton. Now, it's not going to take much motivation for us. We lost to Triton last year, and so that's fresh. That's fresh on our minds. So I think that part with mixing in with what they typically do. Special teams was on our end was a big blunder. So we'll look to improve in that area going into this game as well. They lost us the game last year. So those are our focuses this week on Triton without looking and cutting up film. That's probably where we'll go.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time this morning, as always, and good luck to you next week. We'll touch base as the week goes on.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
That is the head coach at Bremen, Justin Bagunia, and we'll be right back.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana. Serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on, it's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
And in this segment, we're joined by Brent Corbett, the head coach at Plymouth. Man, tough one, but, Death Valley, they believe in that mystique, and that is a very tough place to win a football game at Tippecanoe Valley.
Yeah, starting on the road is always tough. Especially, not using it as an excuse. You got 17 new starters on offense and defense. So, first time playing on the Friday nights can be big. It's a great atmosphere, though. Coach Moriarty's done a great job of building it over there. So, yeah, it's always tough when you're on the road first game.
Talk about what you saw. I mean, obviously they jumped out early, but you stayed with them and got right back into it.
Yeah, very proud of our kids, our staff, being prepared, competing all 4 quarters. I mean, with 5 minutes to go, we're in the game 8-8 with the ball. Got things to learn and got to learn how to finish games. So just something to build on, but very proud of how our kids fought all 4 quarters.
Talk about your offense. You were replacing a lot of pieces over there. I mean, how did you feel about the way they played?
Again, Ryder's first career start on the road, it's a little faster than what he played last year on JV. We got a couple sophomores over there that, again, they just played freshmen last year. So it's just getting them used to the speed of the game on Friday. But, again, very proud of how we competed. Our kids didn't quit. We got kind of a rhythm there towards the end of the first, second quarter, and kind of in the fourth. But, yeah, we got things to work on to get better for Lakeland.
Talk about your line play. I mean, you got some big guys up there, but, not a ton of experience. I mean, how do you feel about the way they play? Because as well as I do, it all comes down offensively to what your offensive line can give you.
Yeah, and I think, again, they competed, but we got some things that we got to shore up on our double teams and our communication of where guys are. And, it's that football knowledge, too, of, on the sidelines when coaches are asking, where's this guy lined up? And, they got kind of flustered of where they were lining up. And, things you learn after week 1, and you get experience of being in a game compared to a scrimmage where coaches can still tell, like, hey, you got to do this. And, I was proud of how they played, but we got things that we got to shore up so we can win week 2.
Who do you think offensively on that side of the ball? Who had a good game for you?
I think Ryder played very well for his first start. I thought he managed the huddle very well. Grady Scott, did a great job. I think he had 6-7 catches last night, and on the line, I think Ezekiel was kind of getting back into the old Ezekiel, and towards the end of the game had a lot better job. But overall, I think Ryder and Grady played really well.
You mentioned Grady, and that brings to my mind, you're replacing almost every skilled position on offense, aren't you?
Yeah, so the new quarterback, I believe the only one coming back was Sosa, and that might be Sosa and Christian and Gibbons were the only 3 that were on last year's starting offense. So, yeah, we're replacing a lot, but again, it's no excuse. We just got to get better and shore it up in practice.
Yeah, because, shoring things up at game speed doesn't usually work very well. Over the years, we kind of figured that out.
Yeah, and again, it's first game, Friday night. Juices are flowing. You're not used to that ebbs and flows. So we'll get better, especially week 2 with the experience they've got. And we got great film that, we'll break it down and get better during the week.
Let's talk about your defense. You're a defensive guy. I mean, how do you feel about the way they played?
You know, I think we flew to the ball. We definitely showed on film that we gotta work a little bit more on tackling, especially when it's late in the game and we're getting a little tired of having the discipline of coming to balance and not lunging. But, you know, I thought our defense played really well, especially after Armani's big play. They responded really well. Again, very proud of how we competed for 4 quarters.
What are the things on defense you want to shore up?
You know, we D-line wise, we got to get lower. A couple times we're a little high and we're getting driven out, which then gets in the laps of our linebackers. And again, tackling. I think we just got to stop lunging, come to balance, run our feet. A lot of times we were just accepting the hit rather than giving the hit. So again, small little things that we can build on throughout the week.
Let's talk a little bit about your week. I mean, what are going to be the coaching points that you're going to go over, the things you got to get better at?
You know, Monday we'll go over, you know, Lakeland and what they do. Special teams, it'll be a very heavy special teams day because we got to get better in our kickoff coverage, staying in our lanes. But, you know, offensively, it'll be Kevin will go through and he does a great job. We're going to see a 4-3 again. So just assuring our double teams and our communication with our combos. Defensively, we'll go over Lakeland's run fronts and, you know, we'll figure out what we want to do of how we want to attack them. But, you know, Monday is definitely a learning day. Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll kind of get after it with the game plan and then Thursday's review. So it's your typical week, but definitely now that we're in week 2, our kids should be able to make it a smooth transition.
Should make this a point, too. I mean, you know, first-year head coach, you've been around the program, though. You know your guys, but, you know, even a guy that has been there for 20 years, first couple of weeks, the coaches are trying to figure out where to put guys that they're going to be most successful. And, you know, you're still learning what these guys are going to give you in particular situations, particular positions. That's something that, you know, is going to be your job this week.
Yeah, and so, you know, again, I am blessed with a really, really good staff that's veteran. Again, we've all been around, so to rely on their opinion and what they think, they've done a great job of, you know, building relationships with the kids so they kind of know what ticks and, yeah, just trying to figure out, you know, we were trying to figure out last night what kind of team we'll have, and I think we've proved that we'll fight for 4 quarters, so, yeah, it's great to have a veteran staff that you can rely on.
I was going to say, you know, you got guys that have been around this for a long, long time. And, you know, the one thing that you don't have to fight through as a first-year head coach is those relationships. I mean, you guys all have them, and you have since these guys were young.
Yeah, and that's what's great. Again, you know, Gene Skirvin, Bob Garrity have been around, you know, with Tom Condon and, you know, his 2 semi-state runs, and then a bunch of us were on, you know, John Barron's staff, and, you know, another winning decade of things. So, you know, yeah, having those key things, I think, of knowing what we've been in the past to express to the kids has been great.
Talk a little bit. I mean, you got Lakeland. Is this the next week? Is this the first time that Plymouth's ever played them in football? I feel like it is.
I believe so. You know, we dropped Columbia City. They went to go play Northridge. So, you know, Lakeland's the first time we've played him, but you know, Tom Wogelman's been around at the NLC enough that he's kind of a familiar face. So, different foe, but about the same coach that we'll see before.
I was going to say he's been around a while.
Yeah, I mean, he did an amazing job at Wawasee of turning them around, and then, you know, went to Northridge and they had their semi-state run. So and then Goshen, just saw him about 3 years ago in Goshen. So he's an amazing coach. He knows how to turn programs around, and it'll be a great challenge to try and outthink him this Friday.
I was going to say, he's kind of an evil genius on defense, isn't he, if I remember right?
He is. He always gets his kids to play tough and fast, physical, which then translates into their offense. So, again, he's a great guy. He's a great mentor to, befriend. But it'll be a great chess match this Friday.
I'm going to ask you something just because I'm curious. What do you guys do on Saturdays? You just come in for treatment and take film, or what is a typical Saturday practice?
We're doing a little different this year. So kids come in about 8:15. We'll see the trainer if anyone needs to. 8:30, Coach Cost takes them out. We'll stretch them, run them a little bit just to get that lactic acid through and get the bumps and bruises stretched out. And then, we'll watch a little bit of film from last night, with a lot of two-way guys, offense or defense, whoever wants to start. We'll go through about 15, 20 minutes. Then we'll flip. We'll tell the kids what they need to know for the week. And then we meet as a staff right after and then head home. So
let's talk a little bit, too. Do you have anybody injured that happened last night, or are you going to be going into week 2 healthy?
Actually, as of right now, I believe we will go in week 2 healthy, and I don't think that's happened in a long time. The one thing I will say that I think our kids have done a great job this summer of I've conditioned a little bit more than what they've probably been used to. And it was the one positive. I was happy we didn't have one kid cramp during the game. So, it's a testament to our kids of listening to our trainer, listening to the coaches, of drinking water and pushing themselves in practice. So we're ready in that fourth quarter and we're not gassed.
That cramping thing, the first 2 weeks, that's tough. That's something that you didn't have anybody cramp up.
Yeah, and again, with a lot of two-way guys, you worry about it. Last year I remember we had a couple guys cramp, and then starting linebacker comes out, guy that hadn't been in the flow of the game, and Tippy scores their long run. So, testament to our kids of pushing themselves in practice and drinking water.
And your trainer, and I'll tell you what, your weight room guy is kind of one of those guys too. I mean, he's doing a nice job with you guys.
Oh yes, Aaron does an amazing job. This year, he teaches 8 hours of weights. This year he's lucky to, Stephen Hovermail, who does an amazing job with high school kids, of building relationships with them, of getting our guys to push hard during the day too, during weights. So we are definitely blessed at Plymouth with great people around our student athletes.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, get them in there, get them going. We'll touch base during the week, and good luck to you. We will be on your game. Right. We'll be on your game next week. So we'll be live at Plymouth and Lakeland.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Rusty.
That is Brent Corbett, the head coach at Plymouth, and we'll take a break.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank. We don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has proudly served the Plymouth community since 1879. Today, our dedicated team continues a tradition of compassionate care supporting families throughout Marshall County. Whether you're planning ahead or honoring a loved one, Johnson Danielson offers a range of personalized options from burial and cremation packages to flexible pre-planning solutions and helpful planning checklists. This is Jamie Beckwith. Our experienced and caring staff are available for you 24 hours a day, ready to guide you every step of the way. Simply call 574-936-2829. To learn more about our services, visit johnson-danielson.com. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home, service beyond the expectation.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
Let's run down our scores from last night around the area. Full slate of action. Game you heard right here on Max 98.3, our opening night. LaVille defeated Triton by a final of 24-6. North Judson defeated Knox 42-0. That is an eye-opener. North Judson definitely just reloading again this year. Valley beat Plymouth 22-14. The final there. It was Adams 9, CMA 8. Central Noble defeated Culver by a final of 35-7. And Bremen over Churubusco with a final of 49-14. We'll take one last break here and we'll come back. We'll name our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week for opening night. So we'll be right back.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
5 Star, the largest meat and grocery store in the area, focused on quality, value, and customer service. The 5 stars in the name of the store come from 5 family members of the original owners serving in World War II, each one represented by a blue star on a flag hanging in the front window of the family home. That's why even decades later, 5 Star is known for its dedication to service. Now that dedication means savings for you. 5 Star, one of the We Care stores, the area's largest meat and grocery store, focused on quality, value, and customer service. Located, you know where, in the Knox Mall.
And it's time to announce this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. It's given in honor of our comrade, longtime broadcaster in Marshall County and at Max 98.3, who died suddenly long before his time, a little over a year ago. And his legacy is one of dedication to his craft, his work ethic, and especially the devotion to athletes and coaches in the area that will never be matched. And it's that legacy we try to honor each week with this award. And we'll tell you who this week's winner is right after a word from our sponsor, Johnson Danielson.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has proudly served the Plymouth community since 1879. Today, our dedicated team continues a tradition of compassionate care supporting families throughout Marshall County. Whether you're planning ahead or honoring a loved one, Johnson Danielson offers a range of personalized options from burial and cremation packages to flexible pre-planning solutions and helpful planning checklists. This is Jamie Beckwith. Our experienced and caring staff are available for you 24 hours a day, ready to guide you every step of the way. Simply call 574-936-2829. To learn more about our services, visit johnson-danielson.com. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home, service beyond the expectation.
And our player of the week this week is Ryder Gayhart from Triton. Heard us talking about him a little bit earlier in the broadcast with Andy Barker and also with Matt Packer from LaVille. And Ryder had 32 carries last night, 173 yards for Triton, 5.4 average per carry. And his longest carry was 38 yards, but 173 yards on opening night for Triton. Ryder Gayhart is our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. He's going to get a certificate, a history of that award, and hopefully we can hook up with him sometime this week. He'll be on next Saturday morning's Coaches Show, and he'll be eligible for our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Year award. That's later in the spring. That brings a plaque, a college scholarship. That's all compliments of Max 98.3 and Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. That's the Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Some programming notes for you as we ended up here. Coming up on Thursday night, it'll be our opening week of Thursday Night Lights. We'll go around the county. We'll talk to all the area coaches about their matchups on Friday night. That'll start at 7 on Thursday. Friday night, we will be at Plymouth as the Rockies take on Lakeland in our game of the week. 6:30, our pregame. 7 o'clock for the opening kickoff. And then Saturday, we'll be right back here again, 7 o'clock, Saturday Morning Coaches Show here on Max 98.3. Thanks for listening. Have yourselves a great weekend.